You know what? I think I missed a step. Let's see here. Wait a minute. Let's see. Well, we are live on Facebook. Good afternoon, Facebook family. Good afternoon. What a blessing it is to be together. And welcome to this particular platform, acknowledged as Trophy of Life, and with the project known as Project 365, where we take the message of hope, encouragement, and inspiration all around the world. It's such a great pleasure to do that, to encourage people, to inspire people. That's a blessing to be able to do that. And today there is no different than any other day. And let's take this moment to welcome or bring in or hug on, love on, virtually hug and love on our co-host.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? My name is Takira Swan, for those of you who do not know, and I am so happy to be here. We have a treat for you today.
We definitely do. We definitely do. We will bring in our guest momentarily, but I want to make sure you go to our YouTube channel to subscribe, to share this particular Facebook Live, to comment, whatever you want to do in order to participate in us getting the word of hope, encouragement, and inspiration around the world. Well, today we have the great pleasure of introducing to some and presenting to others, none other than my friend, my soul wealth sister, Kimberly Cleveland. And we're so happy, Kimberly, that you accepted the invitation to come and join us. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. So glad to be here. It is an honor. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of the 365-day project. Excited.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And today we have a great topic. Oh my God. Well, she is the founder of the Wife University, and she is known as the Good Thing Guru. That sounds good, right, within itself. But she teaches young ladies, older ladies, middle-aged ladies, women in general, to be aspiring wives, to be women that are ready, or she's in the process of preparing them to be ready to be good, wonderful wives. And I'm going to let her explain it herself, because every now and then I get a little so I'm going to release this platform to you, Kimberly Cleveland, and take it away. We are so waiting for this information, to the married ladies, to the single ladies, to the sisters. Ladies in our audience, it would be wonderful if you can share this with another sister, if you can share this with another woman. So today we're going to talk sister to sister and woman to woman. So get ready. You're going to hear some great things and some tips for those. I'm thinking about the married women. I said in my tagline, you want to keep it hot, but at least keep it warm. So this is going to help us, okay? All right, Kimberly, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Take it away.
Absolutely. So again, it's so wonderful to be here. I am Kimberly Cleveland, the Good Thing Guru. And what I do is help single women become and wives be that good thing. Scripture says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. And so I want to start off by just giving you a little bit of background on me and how the Wife University came to be and the becoming that good thing journey began. So for me as a child, my greatest aspiration was to be a wife. I knew I wanted to be a wife and a mother before I knew what my career path was going to be. You see, my role model was my grandmother. She and my grandfather were married over 60 years, and she was a stay-at-home mom. So she was a stay-at-home mom, a devoted wife. So she was my role model, and I aspired to be just like her. She was like, the big mama, always cooking those good down-home meals, right? There to support my grandfather. They had a 60-acre farm. He was farming the land. She would take a jug of water out to him as he's sitting out there on the tractor, working the land. She was always that one there for the kids. They had 7 kids. to have the snacks for them when they jumped off the bus. And so I grew up in that environment, and I just knew that I had love inside of me. I knew and desired to be a wife and to be a mother. So that was my greatest aspiration. But like most, I was raised to focus on my education. So of course I went off to school, completed, high school, went on to college and got my degree. From my degree, of course, focused on my career and climbing the corporate ladder, so to speak. But I did marry my high school sweetheart. But unfortunately, that marriage ended in divorce. Like as many of us out here today, it's hard when you have not been trained, as the word says. Even though my grandparents were my role model, what I learned about marriage was really just from observing, right? I really didn't get trained. I didn't get trained in the strategies and the tools of what it meant to be a wife and what it meant to be a husband. And so unfortunately, that first divorce at the age of 24, being responsible and not having your parents there to provide for your every need, kind of trying to navigate the marriage, trial by fire, because life happens, right? Life happens even in marriage. And the fact that my husband, unfortunately, his parents disowned him for marrying me, right? His parents were from India, and here he married a Black woman. So we had to deal with the racism portion. And unfortunately, in our marriage, there was infidelity. And so that marriage ended in divorce. And as you could probably surmise, I was crushed because, again, this was my greatest desire, just like someone who all their life just knew, like a Tiger Woods knew they were going to be a great golf athlete. You dream of that. And when something happens and that fails, you're crushed. Your spirit is crushed. And so I was dealing with divorce. I was dealing with the depression of divorce. I was dealing with the shame and the guilt of divorce, right? Of wondering, how did I fail at this? But you don't know what you don't know, right? On both of our parts, we had the responsibility of not knowing what we needed to know to be able to have a successful marriage. I went on after some years to get remarried again. And unfortunately, that second marriage also ended in divorce, right? You can't force someone else to try to work it out. You can't force someone else, again, to get the help that they need. And again, I was absolutely crushed, brought down to my knees. And really, it was in that moment that I cried out to God to reveal to me, God, what is your plan for marriage, right? Because I knew marriage was good. I knew that if God created it, it was good. So it had to be something wrong we as humans were doing when 50 to 60% of marriages are ending in divorce. And not only was it happening to me, it was happening to all those around me. And I could see the ill effects of divorce and what it was causing to the family, what it was causing to the individuals involved. And I cried out and I said, God, reveal it to me. Let me go back to the word to figure out what your divine design for marriage is, to figure out what you intended when you created the wife and what you intended when you created the husband. And how does this divine system work? Because if you created it, you had a purpose in mind. You had a purpose in mind for what the marriage was to accomplish. You had a purpose in mind of what the wife was to do, what her purpose was, and what his purpose was as the husband. And it was in that God revealed to me that, you know what? We make so much investment in our education and in our career, right? But we don't make that same investment. We don't give the same time and energy and devotion when it comes to preparing for marriage. And so that's what the Wife University is about. That's what the journey of becoming that good thing is about. It's about the preparation work, that training and that intentionality of becoming an amazing wife and understanding what it means to hold those roles and those responsibilities and discovering what God's divine design is. So the Wife University, many think it's for wives, right? Because it says Wife University, but really we go to the university first to prepare us, right? We go to college and we go to university to prepare us for the career. And that's what the Wife University is. It's for single women and for married women. I say it's for single women so that they can get the proper training and the skills, because being a wife takes skill. It's not just about being a woman. It's not just about being a good woman. It's about obtaining those skills to carry out the role and responsibility that God has given you. And it's also for wives, because as we talk about in our careers and in education, you've got to get those CEU credits, right? Those continuing education units or credits. And as a wife, you're on this journey. And that's why I call it the journey to becoming that good thing, because you're always on that journey. It doesn't end when you get the ring, right? It goes, marriage is for life. And your journey of being a wife is for life. And so you have to be intentional, not only in the preparation work, but you have to be intentional about always concentrating on your self-development as a wife. Because in marriage, you're going to go through different seasons. And so you have to be equipped for all of those seasons as you make those transitions. And so that's an ongoing thing. You don't get the ring and then you just arrive. And unfortunately, that's how, looking back now, I can say I thought it happened, that you just, we fell in love, we love each other, and we're just going to figure this out as we go. Well, life showed us it was trial by fire, right? And so what I wanted to do is save other women from going through what I went through. If I could just save one from going through a divorce and dealing with the depression, the shame, the guilt, the feelings of abandonment that I experienced, then I knew that that would be good, right? That if I could help decrease that divorce rate, then that would be good. And so really that's what my journey brought me to. My pain birthed my passion. It birthed my purpose. It birthed the Wife University and this journey of becoming that good thing. And I want to encourage someone out there that no matter what life has taken you through, that pain, that experience was not for naught. That pain and those trials and tribulations were for you to use for someone else's good. He put us here for a reason, right? He put you here for a reason, and he's giving you purpose. And part of your purpose is tied to that pain. It's tied to the things that life has put you through so that you can help someone else. And so I want to encourage you, no matter whether you've gone through divorce or whether you've gone through other things, those things can be used for your good and can be the fuel, like it was for me, to birth your purpose and your passion. So let's talk a little bit about this intentionality. How do you prepare? And I've got my notes here because I have a lot that I want to share with you and give to you to encourage you and to empower you if you're thinking about being on this journey, right, to becoming that good thing and to one day be an amazing wife and have a successful marriage. And so let's talk into that. I want to get into 7 steps on how you actually prepare and become intentional. As I said to Portia before we started, I am more of a teacher than I am a speaker, so I do have my notes, and that's why I really call myself the good thing guru, right? Guru just means a spiritual teacher and a guide. So I am that guru, that's your spiritual teacher and guide as you're trying to discover what God's divine design for marriage is. And so again, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor from the Lord. And so if you've got to be intentional about that. You've got to really, if you're, again, thinking about one day, I might want to be a wife, or God, if it's your will for me to be married, then so be it. If God has placed that thought in your mind, if God has placed that desire in your heart, like he did for me, then he intends for you to be a wife. Just that thought alone, again, makes you, is just the spirit prodding you. And so it's your responsibility, again, that if you're going to be a wife, that you're prepared. No one goes out to do any great work and does not do the preparation and training. You don't desire to be a surgeon and then just one day go into the hospital and pick up a scalpel and go to work. No, they put you through a rigorous training. You go through schooling to prepare you to become successful. And that's what the Wife University is. All right. So the first step is being intentional. Being intentional and recognizing that you need to do some work, some preparation so that you can be successful. And so how do you do that? You make a decision. You first make a decision that you're going to focus on doing that preparation work. You're going to get in a process, right? Which is why the word says older women teach the younger women. You're going to need to glean wisdom, right? From God's word, from other women who have experienced marriage and gone through the process. And that's what I offer. I offer what not to do and what to do. Those marriages definitely equipped me with some experiences of what to do and what not to do. And again, over 18 years, I have been a coach and mentoring women in this process of how to become a good thing. So it starts with intentionality and focus. It starts by, again, linking arms with someone so that you can get into some training, more than just a 6 or 8 week marriage preparation course. Again, remember what I said, it's about making that same investment of time, energy, and devotion, just like you did to your career, just like you did for your education. It's more than just 6 to 8 weeks. And then start applying that training to your daily life. That's what we're doing on that becoming of the journey of becoming that good thing. We're making application of the things that we're learning and applying it now in our singleness, so that when he finds us, he says, I found a wife, meaning you're already a wife in your singleness because you've already been doing the work. You've already been applying it to your life. And that's why when he sees you from afar off, he was like, that's my wife, because he sees you already doing those things. And then for those wives, I want to help you be intentional also. Remember, I said it's important for you to keep getting those CEU credits. You have to be intentional after the wedding, after the honeymoon, to continue to still be humble enough to know that you don't know everything and that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay that when you start, before you start even hitting those bumps in the marriages, that you prepare yourself, that you know what's coming up as you transition from just you and your husband to you and your husband and the kids. That's a transition. And you transition from raising those kids and, like Portia said, keeping those embers burning, because that's your first responsibility. God commands you and your husband to be that foundation. So you've got to always be making sure that that foundation is strong before you start looking and doing other things, right? And so make sure that you're focused on that. So it starts with that intentionality. Where I start my women is really where God started me in my journey. And that is, first step is to heal from the pain of the past. You've got to do that work, all right? Because you need to be whole. You're always going to be healing from something, but many of us through our childhoods have experienced some type of trauma. And so you've got to start there. The next thing I talk about is, who am I? Why am I here? Who does God say that I am? Because it's important for you to know who you are as an individual before you even start looking to a mate. How do you know who your mate is if you don't first know yourself, right? If you don't first love yourself and who God created you to be, how can you love someone else? So again, that's why it's so important that we start there too in our journey of really realizing who we are at our core. And many of us don't really examine that until we get out of college, right? Until we've matured some to really be able to ask ourselves the honest question and stop becoming who we thought the world thinks we should be or our parents think we should be, that we take ownership of our own beliefs and values and who we want to become. That's number 2. This time is going by fast, lady. I am going to wrap it up here, but I do want to give you some of these steps to encourage you. We talked about learning about God's divine design for marriage. That is so important because many of us, again, have been looking at TV and radio and magazines and books, and they've been telling us what marriage is. But if we want it to be successful, we have to go back to the Creator's original design for marriage to understand how the system works, because God is a God of purpose. And so if he created marriage, you need to figure out what was his purpose, what was his intent, like I said, not only for marriage, but for the man and for the woman to become wives and husband. And becoming a wife and becoming a husband is all about roles and responsibility, right? Typically, roles are more slated towards the secular, right? But responsibilities are God ordained. And so you need to get clear on that. The next thing I want to encourage you to do as men and women is to learn that we're different. We talked about becoming mates, right? Look at two tennis shoes. There's some things that are similar in the left shoe and the right shoe, but there are some things that are different. But the thing is, they complement each other. Don't think that a man thinks like you think as a woman. He's different. And it's important for us to recognize those differences so that we can come together in harmony and work well together. Okay. And then number 7 is what makes her that good thing. You know, we delve into that. What makes her, I always say there's a difference between being a woman, being a good woman. There's a difference between being a wife and being a good thing. You can be a wife entitled just by having the ring, but that does not mean that you're a good thing. And God clearly has in his blueprint, he has a blueprint, right? The Bible, and tells us what that good thing is. What makes her such a good thing that when he finds her, God says, you now have favor from me, from the Lord. And we get into what those characteristics are and how to develop those characteristics and skills, again, for her to be that good thing. And I'll just give you a couple. Are you trustworthy? Proverbs 31:10 through 12 says, the heart of a husband safely trusts in her. Can he come to you and be vulnerable? Are you his safe haven of peace? You first have to find peace within yourself before you can provide peace with him. Can he trust you with his words, with his emotions? Can he trust your emotions and your attitude? Are you dependable and committed, right? She does him good all the days of her life. Are you doing good? Do you wake up each morning with the intent, with the mission of doing your husband good? As I always say, marriage is a ministry. If you don't have a servant's heart, if you don't like to serve, then you probably shouldn't be getting marriage, because marriage is about ministry and marriage is about purpose, right? And so you are the multiplier. As the woman, you take in what he's giving you, right? You have the room to receive the seed, and you give him back a baby. You are a multiplier, and that is a multiplier in everything you do. He brings you a house, you make it a home. He brings you his vision, and you multiply that vision. You put the systems in place to help him carry out that vision. You're his helpmate. And I'm going to leave you with this last thought. You know, a lot of times the devil perverts what God has intended for good. And that's really where Delilah went wrong. She was perverted by the devil, but she had and was doing some good things that we need as women to observe. And I like to call it, she provided him with the lap, right? Delilah provided Samson with the lap. And that L stands for like and love. She liked him, and in her own way, in her perverted way, she loved him. But if we're that good thing, we can also do it God's way. You need to reassure him and let him know that you're interested in him. You're excited about him. You care for, you're hanging on to his every word and action, right? The A is for admire. Men need to feel admired and adored. Are you in awe of him? Do you respect and honor him? Those words, a lot of times in this culture, we don't even really know how to exemplify respect and honor, but that's what we do in the Wife University. We teach you that, right? Again, are you captivated? Because Delilah was captivated by Samson, right? She had bad intentions, but she was captivated by him, and he needed that. And then the P, protection. Protection. Men are protectors, right? But we are, as women, are also protectors. Do you have his back? Does he know that it's you and him against the world? Your greatest weapon and defense as you protect your husband is prayer. Are you a woman? So that's what I wanted to end it with. Those 7 principles are just some of the principles that I share in the Wife University. Thank you so much for having me today.
That is wonderful. I wish I had that before I got married. And though I really had a wonderful husband, there were still little things, whether it was he or I, because I didn't do everything right myself. But it was a wonderful marriage. Didn't say everything was hunky-dory, but it was, like I said, a good marriage. But those are tips that still would have enhanced the marriage. So in our audience, whether you're married or not, these are really good tips that you can learn from. And I hope that the marriages that ended in divorce for you, that wasn't a turnoff for anyone else, because if you could get through that and then tell others what to do and what not to do, it will make a whole lot of difference. And we thank you. Matter of fact, how did you feel knowing that you knew what was in your heart, and you knew your two marriages failed? How did you feel moving forward with the courage to tell other ladies what to do, what not to do, because you had experienced it?
Absolutely. Well, really, Portia, I had to have a conversation with myself, because I was like, no longer will divorce hold me captive, right? Because in that moment that I was being held captive, I felt like the victim, that shame, that guilt that I was dealing with. And I was like, you can't hold me here anymore. I know who I am, right? When I went back to God and said, God, show me not only who I am, but what marriage was, he revealed to me, I know who I created you to be, right? And yes, you failed. You didn't know what you didn't know. But again, divorce, you can't hold me captive anymore. And so and I did have those questions of God, who, me? You want me to go out and do this work after I'm the one who has experienced divorce? And God says, you know what? You have a heart for it. You now are empathetic to the women who are going through it. You now have seen some things and gone through some things that you can shed light for someone else. Right. And some people may not be able to receive it, and that's fine. That's not who I'm called to. I'm called to who God has called me to, and I am good with that.
Last but not least, because if I keep tagging on to what you say, we're going to be here a while. Last but not least, and then I'm going to turn it over to Takira. Tap into, just for a moment, the internal and the external beauty, the difference, because some of the ladies think, you have it all together on the outside and it's messy on the inside. So
right, or vice versa. The two are important. A lot of times when we're raised in the church, we tend to think that the outer beauty is not important, and it is. Because if you go back and look at the stories of Esther, if you go back and look at the story of Ruth, they were encouraged by older men and women to, again, take heed in their appearance. God, you want to be pleasing to God, but you also want to be pleasing to your husband. You are a reflection of him, right? So that starts, on the inside, but it is also on the outside. And that inner work is so important, like I said, because you've got to heal yourself, right? You don't want to carry that baggage into the marriage. You want to work on your character. That's why it says that he can trust in her. His heart can trust in her because of her character and who she is. She is that proverbial woman. She is that good woman, that good thing. And that starts with the inner work that I talked about, the love, the kindness, the serving. She's a hard worker. She's always thinking of the good of her husband and her family. That's character.
That's character.
I had to unmute my mic there. So I really enjoyed this segment today. I have a bunch to say, but I won't say everything. Maybe we can talk after, or another day, of course. But before I start with my comments, we had a couple questions in the comment section.
Absolutely.
So the first question is, I think they want clarification of, are you saying marriage is a process and continued learning? Is marriage an ever learning situation? And also, what should you look for in each other before marriage?
Absolutely. So yes, it is an ever going process, right? When God intended marriage to be lifelong, and we're always growing, right? If we're not growing, we're dying. So same thing with marriage. It's an ever growing process. And that's why I emphasize self-development and never feel like, oh, I have arrived, right? I am a wife now and all is good. No, because again, you're going to have to learn how to make those transitions and seasons in life. And that's really why he brings you together. Your greatest growth comes from marriage, when two become one. Learning that process is a process of God taking you on that journey of developing you and growing you and perfecting you. That happens in marriage, and that's one of the purposes of marriage. So yes, it's an ongoing process. And then what was the second part of your question?
The second part of the question was, what should you look for in each other before marriage?
Absolutely. And I talked about first knowing yourself, right? And that why I feel that is so important is because if you don't have a good sense of self-worth and self-value, then you're going to go into it again with just defeat because you don't really know who you are. And then you've probably selected someone from that hurting place. Like for me, I had abandonment issues, right? Because I never had my father. And so subconsciously, I was always like, how can a parent leave a child? And so then I was looking for love in all the wrong places. So you have to, again, first know who you are, a good, healthy sense of who you are and who God has created you to be. You need to know your purpose because, again, that's how you're going to recognize your mate. It's not just the man finding you because, you know, as a good woman, men are going to approach you. I tell women that all the time. Men are going to approach you, and it's up to you to decide who are you that good helpmate for. If you don't know your gifts and your talents and your abilities, you don't know who you're best suited for. So it's important for you to know who you are and what to look for. But there's also other things that you need to look for, again, men and women, when you're talking about looking for a husband and looking for a wife, because you can find a good woman, but that doesn't mean she's a good wife. She's a good woman, but is she a good wife? And there's special skills that it takes to be a wife. Any wife will tell you that, right? So yes, it's important for you to know that, and I get into those.
I think that's a really good point that you said. And that's something that I really advocate for single women who have a desire to be married is the first thing you need to do is know yourself, because of course, as you get older, as time goes on, you naturally change in who you are. Like you grow, you develop. And a lot of my, not a lot, quite a few of my friends who got married at such a young age, you know, like right out of high school, or they're completely different people. And they're like, you know, well, the person I'm with right now was good for me when I was in that young age. But now that I'm, you know, and now that they're like in their 30s or they're turning 30, they're like, listen, I'm a completely different person. He's a completely different person. And now they're like in that phase where we don't know if we should really stick together, but we have kids, so let's just make, you know, let's complete what we feel the idea of a good family is. But if they had a choice, they were like, maybe I should have waited because I didn't know who I really was. So as someone myself who's not married, that's something I always look at. You know, I like to observe different things, and that's how I learned a lot about people who are married and what they've gone through, is that it really is important, guys, that you know who you are, and that when you pick or accept the person that you feel like you want to be with, I think it's important to have someone that you feel like you can grow with. Of course, I was taught, you know, a marriage partner does not complete you, but they complement you. So, yes. Like someone I'm looking for will be like a partner, someone I can grow with, someone I can accomplish things with, you know. Of course, they're not perfect, but someone who's like, you know what, I like you, kid. You know, you're good. Let's do this together. So
right.
That's something I think, like you said, it's very important. And I know I have several friends who watch our broadcast after work, and they are single and they are, you know, forward thinking women, and they're going to be like, wait a minute, you have a whole school for women, but what about the men? Because that's a big thing. We just had this whole topic, you know, a couple weeks ago about how in our society, you know, we have all these things to help groom women to be such great people and great wives, but no one ever addresses the men. Like, you know, so I don't know if you know someone or if you are planning, you know, but listen, they need to put that in the link in the comment section, because we can be the best wives and have all the training in the world, but if you have a sucky, I don't know if I should say sucky, but you know,
here's what I have to say to that, to Kira, is that, you know, I get that question a lot, and let's address that question. Yes. If God is preparing women, what kind of God would he be not to, you know, again, put purpose within them and not let them carry out the purpose? Why would he be creating all these wives, right? That would kind of be cruel. Yeah. God is not God is not like that. He is a God of order. And believe me, if he's raising up wives, he's raising up men. We may not see it, but don't be fooled. Just as there are good women out there and good wives out there, there are good men out there. And again, we have to, a lot of times the devil will get us focused on that. He'll get us focused on, there aren't any good men out here. There aren't, why is it we're always the one being intentional and they're not being intentional? They go about it a different way, but they're out there. There are men out there teaching men how to be men and how to become husbands. I promise you. So you just keep doing your work and remember who you serve, and he is going to take care of you. And that's even in your preparation as a wife. If he's preparing you to be a wife, he has a husband out there for you.
Thank you so much. So my friends who are going to watch this, you heard her. So
and we just have to make sure we get them on the show. We have to get them here. We have the women.
You have, like DeAndre Wilfield, he's out there teaching male versus man, right? There are men out there who are teaching men how to become good men. And we have to be women, again, like I said, we are the multipliers. We have to encourage them. We have to encourage our ministers and those out there to do that good work because it's out there. I know men who are, have etiquette schools for young men, teaching them how to become men. So again, it's out there. It's out there.
It's a great investment for us.
Yes. So if anyone is interested, we're going to make sure we have her info. I think this is a great investment in yourself if you want to take part, if marriage is something that you desire. So I just encourage everyone to just tap in and take advantage of this resource that we are bringing here today.
Great. Now you have a podcast, don't you, Kim?
I don't have a podcast, but I do go live on my Wife University page on Facebook every Thursday evening at 9:00. So I'll be going live tonight, but every Thursday night on my Facebook page, the Wife University, I go live. I do have a TV show that just got rolled out that is on streaming platforms. It's on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire Stick, and Roku. And it's exactly what I'm talking about on Thursday nights, but I bring experts in on my TV show. So if you have any of those streaming platforms, make sure you get the Exposure app. Once you download the Exposure app, then you can go to the Mogul TV channel, and that's where you'll find my show, Becoming That Good Thing. And so I have a lot of great relationship, love, marriage experts that I bring on, and we delve into the conversations just like we had today.
Awesome.
Okay, and share that information about those different levels that you have for the Wife University.
Absolutely. If you are a single woman who wants to be intentional and wants to start doing the preparing work, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're engaged, whether you just have the desire to be married, you can join my exclusive group. It's called That Good Thing Exclusive Community. It's on Patreon, www.patreon.com/thatgoodthing. And there's 3 membership levels. And I'm just going to promote the greatest level, which is $35. That $35 level gives you a community of women who are intentional. They give you accountability, right? Once a month, I come in and do trainings, group trainings, one-on-one. But the greatest thing is each week I put out what I call weekly challenges. And these are activities to help prepare you. It's that coursework for you to do, right? And we come together and we discuss it. And then also, again, I'm bringing in experts once a month to do that group coaching with you for $35 a month.
This has been some great information. Great information.
Thank you so much, ladies. And I do want to share one other thing. I have 2 books on my website, so make sure you go to www.thewifeuniversity.com. And tomorrow, I will have my new product, these new teas for the spring to work out. That Good Thing. So make sure tomorrow you go to my website so you can grab one of these tank tops.
Send me one in a small, send my invoice. I want mine. I have to get some red Converse.
Yes, they're in red and white.
All right. All right. Takira, anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Everyone, check out her website. It's awesome. I'm going to be taking advantage of these resources as well. So join me on this journey to wifehood, womanhood, just being amazing at being you. So
yes, that good thing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thanks again, Kimberly. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
And we will see you around. See you tomorrow, everyone.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
and I will see everyone on Monday.
No!
I know. But I will be
She's gonna
back, guys. I'll be back on Monday, ready to go.
Good. Just make sure you come back.
Yes, I will, definitely.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye, ladies.